Wait a minute, I want to say some more stuff.
Tips on getting to know your characters, brought to you today by Nika Holland. There's like kind of storm outside today. Like, yeah. I like got my hair brushed and now it's just, I went outside and now it's just wild again. Oh well. Oh well. Let's get in the car before it gets any more windy. Probably the 6th try. That's all good though. Applauding myself actually being able to talk would be a good thing. We have notes. Blowing my mind.
Welcome back, peeps, to the channel. Today is another day and another video.
That was a weird intro. I'm just gonna do that again. Hi peeps, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a fun video that's good for Preptober. I just realized it's starting to rain really hard and I hope that you can still hear me. Today's video is getting to know your characters and like how you can do that. Personally, this is what I've been trying to do recently. Characters are funny things because you make them up, but they have to be really realistic. And in a way, to me, my characters often are kind of just like real people. So we're in October, which in writing world is sort of Preptober, because NANOWRIMO, National Novel Writing Month, is coming up in November, so October is before November.
In case you didn't know.
And yeah, so it gets called Preptober because lots of people are preparing for NaNoWriMo. Okay, I just have to say something, disclaimer. I have done all of these things that I'm going to tell you to do today, except for 1/2 of them. Like, I've just kind of made a list of things that I think would be helpful, and I will be trying to just continue to do all these things. I'm going to pray before I get into the video, and then we'll get into it. Wow. Wow, it's so stormy today. I prayed, and the Lord revealed more things, and that was 11 tips, or more, because he just reminded me of some things, so that's why you pray, peeps. I'm just gonna start rolling out these little things that you can do, and I hope that you can hear me. I'm guessing you can, like, I'm quite a loud person, so yeah. I'm about to get into it, and then I'm like,
Wait a minute, I want to say some more stuff.
I want to say, personally for me, it helps to think about getting to know characters, not as in, oh, let's make up this person and make up their little entity and like make up all this stuff about them. I like to think of it more as, all the stuff's already there about them, they are actually a person, a character. It's more about me discovering those things. Because otherwise, it's kind of a lot of pressure on me to make up this character, whereas if I just think of it as, oh, I just need to discover this character, then things will just come to me and I'm like, oh!
That's what you want to tell me, Bill, about yourself.
None of my characters are named Bill, just to let you know. Okay, the first tip is to have conversations with them. Literally, just talk to your characters. This might sound quite weird, and this might not work for everyone, because
maybe I'm just extreme.
but personally, I find it real cool to like actually have conversations with my characters. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to explain this, but basically, you would like ask them questions. Kind of like, get to know them. Everyone's like, she talks to made up people in her head. Yes, peeps, that's what writers do. That's what I do. So yeah, have conversations with them, and I think that helps to get to, like, when you're getting to know someone in real life, right? If you couldn't talk to them or have conversation with them, it would be a lot harder to get to know them. The next thing, which I think's very common, is to write out informational forms. Like, I don't know, just all the information that you have about your character. Their name, their age, where they're from, who their parents are, if they have any siblings, what their clothing style is, what's their pet peeves, what do they love and hate, what makes them angry, what makes them happy. You can find lots of these sort of forms online, I'm guessing. Then you have like a form about them and you can go and read through it and get to know just all the little quirks about them. It's kind of more about the facts, this, I feel. On this informational form, I would also put down their desire, their fear, and their misbelief. Just because their desire and their fear is what causes the conflict in the story, and you really need that. So please don't miss out that vital bit of information. Go watch Abby Emmons if you're wondering what that's about, because she talks about it in like every video. The third tip is to create Pinterest boards. I've created a Pinterest board for my book, and on Pinterest, you know, on the boards you can create sections, and so I have like the name of my book, what I'm calling it at the moment, and then there's lots of sections, so like different characters, different places, and I kind of make little mini boards for all of them. I think it really helps to go onto Pinterest, get some really cool images, and get the whole aesthetic of your book going. It's really inspiring as well, and just for character wise, it just can really help, because you start getting like the glimpse of maybe not exactly how they look, because personally I probably wouldn't base how my character looked completely off a photograph of someone else, because
Identity theft?
no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's just for inspiration. It can be helpful because you create boards for your characters, and it's kind of like their own little aesthetics and their own little like life, like in this little board. It's kind of cute. Fourth tip: make Spotify playlists. Their playlists can have songs on them that can be instrumental songs, songs with lyrics, whatever. Just it needs to kind of get you inside the mind of your character. So do you ever have a song and you're like, oh, this is so relatable? Like, get songs like that for your characters, so that in the certain situations that might happen to them, like you can listen to the song and kind of get in their head. Raining really hard. Fifth tip is to list 10 scenarios and write their responses. Basically just list 10 scenarios, like, I don't know, someone tries to mug them on the street. That was an intense scenario, but like, anyway. Or they get invited to a birthday party, or I don't know, these examples I'm coming up with are really bad, but like, just list 10 scenarios that they could get into, and then just write out how they would respond to them, because then you get to learn how they respond to different situations, and that's what you're going to need for writing your book. The sixth tip is write description of them. You can write description of how they look, how they are, how they act, their character. I think this is also helpful, because then you might not, personally, like, if I write a description of them, I'm probably less likely to write a huge, long, boring description in the book, because I would have already done that, you know? I would have already got it out, instead of when I start writing the book, like, oh, I'm going to write a long description, because I feel like I need to get out my words of how they look. Whereas if you've already done that, then you can kind of pick and choose the best details from what you know. Explore how they look and how they are, and just write some description of them, because this is also fun, because then you can also just practice writing without actually writing your book, but you can practice writing about the characters. Number 7, do an MBTI test. I think that's what it's called. I've done this for my characters. I'm probably going to redo it because I know more about them now. I wouldn't base my characters purely on this test, because people are complicated, but they are very helpful, because they go into all the strengths and weaknesses and just all the stuff. There's so much on there, and it's very helpful to read through, and you can kind of pick and choose, like, oh, my character's not really that, but oh, they are that, and so it's just quite cool. And also gets you thinking, because I think there's maybe 50 questions in the quiz for, like, to figure out what personality type they are. So it gets you thinking about, really does, about, oh, yeah, what are they like in this situation? Or, oh, are they this? So that's quite good, even just for the questions. The 8th thing, to perform an interview. I did this, and it was just fire. Like, my characters just had an interview. It was really cool. And I was like, okay, so, and then like just started an interview. I think the questions were like, what makes you angry? Like, probably just the things that you would have on your informational forms. The 9th thing you can do, I feel like I'm doing the finger thing now, like I'm doing the numbers, so I have to keep doing it. Listen to their music and brainstorm. This is kind of quite vague, but you can listen, I don't know, to their Spotify playlist, and just get into their head and get into like who they are, and just kind of brainstorm, just write random things down that come to you. Or it might even be brainstorming for what happens to them in the book. Like, just listen to their music, get into the space of them, and then just do some brainstorming. Like, you could come up with some really cool things. The 10th thing is to delve into their history, get into that backstory, guys. Get into the juicy backstory of why they are how they are today. Get into the backstory, guys, okay? Because it explains a lot. Even personally, as a person, like me, real person, my past defines a lot of who I am today. So for your characters, I think it's pretty important to go into their past, kind of, yeah, get into their backstory, create some cool history for them, because I think it will make them more of a deep character, because all of us have backstory and we have history. So for your characters to have that, it's going to be interesting for the reader to be like, you know, oh, that's why they are like that now, because that happened to them, or someone said that to them, or oh, they overheard that conversation. It could be like a real traumatic thing that happens in their past, or maybe it's just something they've developed over time. But I don't know, I think it's really cool to go into the history of it all, into the backstory. Did I bring my water? I didn't. I mean, I could just open the door and like get the raindrops in my mouth, but we're not doing that today.
Not today.
11th. Oh my gosh, I can't do 11. The 11th thing is to prepare, like, with God, like, for your characters. You can include Jesus in everything. And I've been guilty of putting things into boxes in my life, and then Jesus is over there, and then my writing's here, and they don't really cross over. But now I'm really trying to have them fully crossed over. I think you could even like pray to God and ask him to help you with your character development or getting to know your characters. Honestly, I've done this, like prayed about my book and things, and God has literally talked to me and told me things about my book. Literally, I'll be like, Lord, can you just help me with this character that I'm like creating? And I'm like, so why are they like this? And then I'll literally hear him reply and it's like good advice. And I'm like, oh, right, thank you. It's really cool how God uses art, like, and how he actually speaks to us through everything. And how he's actually interested in this sort of stuff. Personally, it's like, oh, God doesn't care about my writing, because, like, well, it's just a fictional book, and, like, whatever. But, like, he does. He cares about everything we're doing. And I believe that if you really feel like you want to write a book, then it's him who's placed it on your heart. Yeah, he's interested to be involved and to give you advice and to be there with you along the journey. Talk to God about it, get some advice from him, because like, oh, he's the creator of everything. It's like the creator. So with like creative things wise, he's probably the best person to go to. But can you guess that's the tip I got when I prayed? That is all my tips for today. I hope that your character planning is going well and that you're getting to know your characters in time for NaNoWRIMO. Personally, I'm a pantser, so I'm not really doing that much planning storyline or plot-wise, because I kind of just have a rough idea and then I'm like, right, let's just go. But for characters, I know that I need to get to know them really well before I start writing, because in the past, most of the things that have gone wrong have been to do with having poorly built characters and kind of just not preparing my characters at all. And I think that, I don't know, there's only a certain extent you can get to with characters before you write the book. And after you write the book, you're going to know them way better than you did before you wrote the book. So it's kind of just, there's only a certain amount you can do, but you know, I'm keen to do that certain amount, because it's just so freeing when you know your characters, because then when you're writing the story, you know what's going to happen a lot more of the time, because you know what your character's responses are going to be. I am rambling now, so I'll get going. Wish me luck for getting back to the house alive in this storm, and yeah, thank you for watching, giving me some of your time. Keep being awesome. I'll see you next time. See ya!